Yeah, I don't plan on having kids. Ask him if he's still transmitting. He's still transmitting?
Real quick.
Hold on, yeah, we're quick. It's gonna take 2 seconds to fire this up. Hold on.
Speak up.
Your name, ma'am?
Barbara Crowley,
Crowley.
NYU Medical Center.
Okay, tell me what you know.
All I know at this point is they're trying to establish an outdoor hospital facility like we've set up at Chelsea Piers, a triage unit, for the personnel that are attending to the scene, not to the injured in the scene. They can't get in to get any casualties out at this time. They don't know the extent of it at this point. What we're doing now is going up to get medical supplies, to bring down trauma physicians down here, to set up the surgical unit and the triage unit down here, in addition to, if anybody out there can help, any vendors who have food or supplies. The firemen have no food, nothing but snacks. They need fluids, they need water, and they need protein foods. This is just the beginning of what they're facing. So and we need masks. We need TB masks. Holy shit! What is it?
Just went down.
What just went down?
World Trade 7.
It did go down before.
No, 7, number 7.
Oh my God!
Terrence! 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 Shot his woman crime. Shot this woman crime. Right here, right here.
Nice. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Hey, sorry.
Get off.
Let's go.
gotta do live shots. Come on.
Coming through.
Shit out my face.
Following from the Pentagon hours after a plane crashed into the building. A portion of the...
One side or the other. It just has to stay clear. If you can shoot it from on the other side of the tape, do that.
I worked on the floor of the New York Mercantile Exchange for ABN AMRO. I was coming out of the tunnel by the Brooklyn Battery.
Where were you working and what did you hear anything?
I work on the floor of the New York Mercantile Exchange for ABN AMRO. I was coming out of the tunnel by the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. And after the first plane had hit, I was walking up West Street, and I heard a roar, and I looked around thinking that it had to be a helicopter, and I looked up and I saw the second plane hit. It had to be a commercial-sized airliner.
What went through your mind?
That it couldn't be real. Just that it couldn't be real.
As you look up there, I mean...
I'm seeing bodies falling out of the building. I feel for the families. I just feel bad for the families.
Thank you, sir. Do you work down here?
So
what building do you work in?
We're in 3-5.
Tell me, what happened?
You want to go? We were in a conference room on the 10th floor, and we saw a plane coming very low from this direction, and everyone said, wow, that plane is very, very low. It was kind of flopping back and forth, and it just did not seem good, and then we heard the crash. We ran to the window.
Into the building. It went into the Trade Center.
It hit the Trade Center. We saw the shrapnel fall, and then we said, get out. And then by the time we got to the street, people said they saw a second plane come into the second plane was United. The first plane was big. Alec, you saw the second plane?
Commercial airliners.
What went through your mind as you're watching this?
Get out. Holy shit. The first one we thought was an accident. When we heard there was a second one, we definitely thought it was terrorism at that point. We now just heard something happen in D.C. also, but this is all hearsay.
Yeah.
but we were like, we ran to payphones to get our people out because we actually got to them before they were evacuated.
And when you look up there now and you see that,
You see people falling.
It's awful. I can't talk about it.
what's your name, dear? What's your name real quick?
No. I
name?
don't know my name.
Tell me about it.
I didn't hear it. My office mates heard it.
You guys hear it?
We heard the second plane crash into the building, but we saw the impact come from the other side. The plane crashed from the right side of the building, and the impact blew the left side of the World Trade Center out on the second building. That's all we saw, and everybody just panicked and ran.
Did you see the first impact or the second?
I didn't exactly see the impact, but we heard the impact. The people standing on the other side saw the impact. We just saw the windows blow out on the other side from the second building.
And when you saw that,
we heard a loud boom like it was a jet or I thought it was a missile going into the side of the building, because the way the other side of the building crashed out was it's just too intense.
Can you believe what you see up there?
No, I can't believe what I see. Can't believe what I see. It's a tragedy. Tragedy. Surya.
First name?
Surya.
Spell it.
S-U-R-I-Y-A.
Last name?
Sunthorn. S-U-N-T-H-O-R-N.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good day.
Go ahead.
Westbound on the LIE shut down heading into Queens, westbound Northern Boulevard. Also closures through this area from Glen Clove Road out to Lakeville Road. This is due to emergency vehicles trying to gain access to the hospitals out in Long Island. So certainly trying to get folks some help through these areas as well. Northern State Parkway shut down at the Queens line along the Southern State Parkway at Meadowbrook. So certainly try to avoid these areas at all costs at this point. Eastbound 80 express lanes closed at exit 62. The local lanes shut down at 95. Westbound sides closed at exit 4 at this point. Northbound on the New Jersey Turnpike is open now north of interchange 11. Now the east and western spurs also have been reopened, but northbound 95 and eastbound on the Newark Bay extension, that does remain closed at this point. Southbound on the Palisades Parkway closed at exit 2. Also eastbound Route 4 at Jones Road shut down. Eastbound Route 46 at 5th Street, and along with eastbound Route 3 at the New Jersey Turnpike as well. Northbound routes 1 and 9 closed at the Pulaski Skyway, along with Route 7. That is also shut down at the Whit Penn Bridge. We do have numerous closures. Again, service just beginning to resume on the trains and lots of service heading out of Manhattan, but again, still no service moving into Manhattan at this point. Back to you.
Thank you, Rachel. It is 5 o'clock on this Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, a day we'll never forget in New York's history, in this nation's history.
So much going on, of course. We have our reporters out on the field. Vince Dementri is joining us right now. He is live in Lower Manhattan with an update as to what's happening there at the moment. Vince?
I can tell you I've just been a place that I have been to that, frankly, no firefighters want to go to. Behind me, you see burning 7 World Trade Center. I didn't know it at the beginning, at the tape you're about to see. I didn't know it was a 7 World Trade Center, but I know it now coming back. A 4-block radius has been cordoned off because fire officials expect that building to collapse. I've been within 10 feet of that building within the last 15 minutes. I've been as close to where no one wants to be. Take a look. When you first saw it and walked up to it, you heard it as you were racing to it, but to see it's another thing. What's the first thing that went through your head just after initially seeing it?
I just wanted to cry, to be honest with you. It's terrible.
We are in an abandoned skyscraper, and quite frankly, I don't even know where I'm at. I see a sign outside that just gives me a reference of Barclay Street. As you can see all around here, the windows have been blown completely out. And as we take a walk towards the front of the building here, you want to take a look outside. If you have never been to war, like I have never been to war, then this is what it looks like. We don't know what that building is. We don't know where this building is, but they're obviously on fire. Maybe there's a chance that they could collapse. I've been on this earth for 37 years. I've never been to a war, but I can only imagine that this is as close as I've ever come.
It's an unbelievable sight. I've never seen something like this. And I'm 20 years on this job. This is the worst I've ever seen it before. It's unbelievable, the devastation. We got burnt cars. We have the top of the World Trade Center toppled onto the street. We have we don't know how many people are missing right now. We don't have that number yet, but I'm sure that there is.
I've heard reports that there are just bodies littering the street.
Well, there's reports of people trapped inside the building, but we haven't, we haven't gone. We can't go in yet until the fire's under control.
More debris falling from a nearby building, the World Trade Center. We're at West Broadway and Barclay. Very difficult to breathe here, but look around. This must have been ground zero where this thing blew up. Car after car after car, buses, completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel. Behind me, that gaping hole, that's where one of the 2 towers stood. It's not there. And as you can see above me, the fire in this adjacent building just continues to rage. It's a surreal environment. It's almost impossible to describe, again, except to make a war correlation. Whoever said somebody declared war on us, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it?
Vince, can you hear us now?
The firefighter that you heard in that piece, his name is Lieutenant John Ginta. He talked about wanting to cry at the sight of what he saw. I can now identify with what he's talking about. He talked about bodies in the street. I didn't see any. He talked about people being trapped in that rubble. But as many of you well know, and frankly, I'm not sure who's on the anchor desk, but I have many friends in the law enforcement community. And I've talked to friends of theirs today. And I found out that many of my friends are in that building, 1 or 2 that have collapsed. And you try to distance yourself from this stuff, but when it hits home, it's a far different story. So my prayers right now go out to their families and the families of everyone who's been affected by this. I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
It's, we join you in what you have just expressed, and we're also very sorry about the personal involvement that you have in that story. Can you stay with us for a moment, Vince?
Sure. Sure. Is this Ernie?
Yes, Ernie and Dana. You described what is very much the warlike atmosphere there, and seeing you with your mask on and walking through was just incredible, and that's compelling television, if you will, not to mention the magnitude of the loss here and the depth of the story. How did you get in there?
Well, we just, you know, again, you hate to make these war correlations, but my photographer and I, Terrence, you know, we just went from street to street, building to building, alley to alley, and we just weaved our way in. You know, when we got as far as we thought we could go, we talked it to each other, and of course safety was amongst our concern. And we just said, let's just keep going. Let's see how far we can get to this without endangering our own safety. And when you saw how close we got to what I now realize behind me, 7 World Trade on fire and expected to collapse, you know, what was really frightening is that when we were looking around, there was nobody there. It was us, and that was it. And I think at that point the realization was that we were really in a place where we really just needed to get as much video as we possibly could to show everybody just the total devastation and the destruction, and then just get out.
Well, it was dramatic to watch, and we also have some video right now that we're looking at. You interviewed one of the firefighters there. You were talking about the number of people that are missing. He said that they don't know. There are many trapped inside, but they can't go in, I heard him say, until that fire is under control. Do you have anything more on that as to when they might be able to get in there?
Ernie, all I can tell you is that everyone that is talking to me right now, fire officials, police officials, emergency officials, are telling me they'd love to go in there and do whatever they can to try to rescue anybody that might still be alive, but they can't. There are too many things on fire. There are too many buildings that they are concerned with collateral damage that could collapse at any minute. And imagine the catastrophe that would then take place, that if you sent in hundreds, maybe thousands of rescuers to be in that situation, to have 50, 60, 70 tall skyscrapers around them collapse on them. It's wrenching their hearts. This is what they get paid to do. But right now, nobody can go in. You just can't.
Vince, I know it wrenches your heart, too. You and I have worked together for several years here, and as I look at you standing out there, I think of you at TWA Flight 800 out in that boat, in the water, in that dark night after that plane crashed. And I know how moved you were by that and how moved you are by this. And we're not talking about comparing tragedies here, but we're talking about what we do for a living. And I know that it is hard as you do this work, and we commend you for what you do as you've told these stories.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vince. And as we say to you, as to all of our reporters and all the people that are out there, be careful. and we certainly will talk to you in a short while. If you are just joining us at 8 minutes after the hour of 5, we have been on the air now talking about what we call the attack on America in Lower Manhattan, a deadly terrorist attack in New York City and Washington today. The targets, the World Trade Center, as you can see right there, no longer the World Trade Center as we have known it. Both of those towers have been wiped out. They have been leveled to the ground. And the
We're going to go back to Vince Demetri now, who is right in the area where Building 7, the World Trade Center, collapsed just moments ago. Vince appears to be getting ready. I want to make sure Vince can hear us. Vince, can you hear us yet? Again, that building collapsing just moments ago, 47 stories down there on Vesey Street. Vince was across the street from that building just moments before it collapsed, and then went ahead and filed a report a few minutes ago telling us about what he saw to be ground zero there. Burned out cars, debris everywhere. Again, you'll take a look at it. Again, this is not one of the Twin Towers. This is a building that fell just moments ago. It had been burning for hours. There's Building 7, 47 stories down to the ground.
But thank goodness Vince had the foresight to move, and we're looking to hear from Vince here.
I think the most eerie thing was to look at the videotape of Vince and his photographer walking around the area and seeing how desolate it was.
Yes.
No bodies, burned cars, debris, parts of buildings, not too far away from where they stood, what was one of the towers had been standing. And again, we're waiting for Vince to talk to us, but again, Building 7 has gone down. We should also point out, we believe that firefighters, rescue teams, and police had moved back from that building before, what you're about to see again here on videotape, knowing that fire could not be fought because of the instability of the structure, because of the fire that had burned since shortly after 9 o'clock this morning.
Dana Tyler is joining us in the Information Center. She has some new information for us. Dana.
Angela and Todd, as we check how tomorrow will work in Manhattan, specifically Lower Manhattan, we have gotten word that all U.S. markets will be closed again tomorrow. The SEC will announce tomorrow when trading will resume, but at this point it is put at until further notice. The commodities exchange included here, futures exchanges, equities and bonds, and also many businesses, investment firms who had their offices in the World Trade Center as well as surrounding businesses. The World Financial Center, which is along the Hudson River there, that also affected the New York Mercantile Exchange there. They will be closed. And this has an effect worldwide. The London Stock Exchange evacuated its building, moved trading to another spot today. The Toronto Stock Exchange mid-morning ended trading. In Taiwan, they're half a day ahead of us. No business for tomorrow. And the German Stock Exchange evacuated today because of a bomb scare. Also, from business news to boating news, here in Manhattan, Spirit boats. You know, a lot of people commute by boat in this area along the Hudson and New York Harbor and East River. Spirit cruises have been working very hard all day. 3 large Spirit boats. These boats can carry 300 to 550 passengers. So far today, they've carried up to 6,000 people, taking them from Chelsea Piers over to Weehawken. People who couldn't get out of Manhattan but needed to get to New Jersey. So Spirit Cruises will continue to offer this service as long as it takes to get through this crisis. Todd and Angela, back to you.
Dana, thanks. You know, we've seen the incredible footage of the second plane as it crashed into the second tower of the World Trade Center. Now I understand we have exclusive video of the first plane.
We want you to take a deep breath before you watch this. We'll be seeing it, as you will, for the first time. Exclusive video of the aftermath of the impact of that aircraft. We're going to try to...
There it is. Oh, my God.
It appears to just split the building in half. Again, we believe that is Flight 11, American Airlines Flight 11, from Boston to Los Angeles, that was hijacked and flown directly into the South Tower.
Okay, I'm just being told that that is actually video of the second plane.
That makes more sense because of the smoke billowing out of what appears to be the South Tower there.
So that's another angle of it, because we've seen just a shadow of it.
Exactly. In fact, that second plane, which was United Airlines Flight 175, you have seen it as it circled around behind the towers and struck the towers from behind, from the vantage point where our cameras actually captured it. This time you're seeing it as it makes its impact directly into the building. There it is again.
Here it is.
I'm not sure exactly how you describe this.
No. Just unbelievable.
To think of the people there, unsuspecting.
It looks like animation. It doesn't even look like it's real. Oh.
And again, that is obviously the second aircraft hitting the North Tower of the World Trade Center within about an hour from this moment. Actually 90 minutes, both towers were gone, collapsed into a heap of about 15 stories of rubble.
We actually have a witness who saw this today. Let's hear what they have to say.
Great. There was an explosion. We were on the support floor, which is a basement. Guy came in running. All his skin was out of his body. Oh my God! All his skin was out of his body. We took him out. We ran out. We heard a lot of rumbling. I went back in. There was a lot of smoke. We went up by the stairs with the Port Authority police to start rescuing people. A lot of people were coming out, but there was a lot of people that stayed there. We brought a lot of people on wheelchairs and a lot of people on gurneys, all people that couldn't make it because there was no elevator service. The elevator went out. While we were there, we heard an explosion, and it was on the radio. We were told that it was the 65th floor collapse. So at that moment, we couldn't continue going up. As it is, when I came out, there were still firemen there before the building collapsed. There were people on the 34th floor, on the 36th floor, 37th floor, and 39th floor. And we're talking about 30 firemen.
That were up on those floors?
That were on those floors.
When it collapsed?
When it collapsed. So I don't know what happens to them. I know the officer that was helping me. We don't know what happened to him. This officer Lim from the Port Authority Police. We have no contact with him. I've been looking for him. While we came out on the floor, on the lobby, there were still people on the floor, dead on the floor. There was a person encrusted on the floor. That's how big the impact was. As soon as we came out, we heard that the building was falling. We started running. We went inside, right under the fire trucks because there was nowhere to go. Me and another like 3 firemen, we went in on one of the fire trucks, and everything fell. Everything fell on top of it. So we almost get crushed over there. We were taken out of the truck.
Well, tell me a little bit about the emotional impact that this has had on you. Witnessing what you did.
I was on when the bombing happened years ago, and this is the worst I ever seen. Doesn't compare at all. We're talking about the worst thing I ever seen in my life. Nothing compares to it. And when I look up and I see that the building is gone, it's just like I'm totally in shock. There's no way to describe it. And the kind of people that probably still up there, was still up there, it just kills me because I know they couldn't make it. Right? I worked the whole tower from the 107th floor all the way down, and I know they couldn't make it.
An eyewitness account today of the horrible tragedy that happened at around 9 o'clock this morning at the World Trade Center. We want to show you that video again. It's an incredible video of that second plane as it crashes into the second tower there.
This is United Airlines flight out of Boston, and you'll see it come into the screen on your left momentarily, striking the North Tower. And literally slicing it.
Slicing it. It looks like animation. It's just unbelievable.
Again, those twin 110-story towers are now no longer part of the New York skyline. They are gone.
Neither is building number 7. It has just collapsed. It had been burning all day long. It has now collapsed. Firefighters were not able to handle that one at all. Building just collapsed. We understand the president is expected to address the nation today. He was in Florida initially, then traveled to Shreveport, Louisiana, then to Nebraska. We understand he is on his way back to the nation's capital, and he's expected to address the nation.
And we should explain that. He was in Sarasota originally to speak to some school children, was informed, made a brief statement to the nation, was quickly whisked away from Sarasota and taken to a secure air base in Shreveport, Louisiana, then on to Offutt Air Force Base, SAC headquarters, Strategic Air Command, heavily guarded, heavily armored area where there were national security briefings. Now it's believed that U.S. airspace is safe, under control. Again, all air traffic has been shut down other than military aircraft, and the president, we believe, now has been on his way to Washington for some time, may be back momentarily, if not back now.
Just also let you know, moms and dads at home New York City schools are open tomorrow, so you can expect to send your kids